Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video, I'll be sharing with you the top 5 books that I want to read this summer. So I have a good collection of books here that kind of cover a wide variety of genres, which I am really excited about. I've gotten my TBR down quite a bit, so these are the only newer releases that I haven't read yet because I do plan on doing a couple of rereads this summer. These are basically the only books that I have left on my TBR besides the series that I want to reread or marathon through. So I'm very proud about that. So without further ado, let's get started. So starting out, I first have The King of Crows by Libba Bray, and this is the final book in the Diviners series. And I obviously can't spoil anything with the plot here because, you know, of what because obviously this is a fourth book, but basically the premise of this series is that it takes place in the 1920s in New York City, and it follows a group of misfits basically that are called diviners, and they have some supernatural power to them. So one person can touch an object and know the history of that person who used to own it. One person can walk through dreams, like those type of things. And so while this is kind of going on, there is this dark supernatural power called the King of Crows who's kind of wreaking havoc on both the spiritual world and the human world, and the diviners need to kind of team up and work together to put an end to this. And this is the final concluding novel in this series, and I'm super excited. The last one ended on such a cliffhanger, and it was just, I was totally blown away by it, like just chaos at basically how it ended. So I'm very curious to see how this all ends. I definitely need a refresher before I go into this, so I need to find a very detailed summary of this because I feel like it's been too long. I was still in my master's when the third one came out, but it's been a while. But I am very excited for this. I've heard the reviews of this have been really good and positive, which is always good, so I'm just really eager to see how this series ends. Next I have Gone to Darkness by Barbara Nickless, and this is the fourth book in the Sydney Parnell series that comes out in June, and I am just super excited for it. Obviously, because this is a continuation of the series, I can't really go into detail about it, but it follows Sydney, who is a ex-Marine who is now a detective for the train companies, and so she ends up doing murders and all of that, and she has a canine companion named Clyde who also served in Afghanistan with her. And what I really like about this series, not only from the complex character of Sydney, but how it also tackles the how people struggle with PTSD and how there's not really a lot of resources for people who come back overseas and are dealing with this. So I think this is really well done. They're super suspenseful. I cannot recommend this series enough. If you're looking for a unique kind of crime series, definitely check this one out. Like I said, there's, as of right now, there's only 3 books out, but there'll be 4 out total, so you could definitely marathon them and get caught up quickly. Next I have A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCreight, and this is the one book that I got for my book of the month. But basically I think it follows a woman who is gets a call from an inmate at Rikers asking for help, and it's from an old friend, and it says from Zach's, but Zach is different. His wife Hannah has been found dead at the bottom of the stairs in their Brooklyn brownstone, and Zach's the primary suspect. So I'm really interested about this. I always love a good psychological thriller, crime novel, and I feel like I haven't been reading a lot of those recently, so I kind of want to get back into it because I have 2 of those in here as well, and they're all book of the month. My sister got me book of the month for my birthday, so I've been trying to use them up. But yeah, I'm excited for this. I read Reconstructing Amelia that this author wrote, which I thought was really well done, and I enjoyed it. So I'm curious to see how I feel about this one. I always love those dark crime thrillers, and for these ones I don't want to know too much about it because I think it's best to just kind of go into these blind, so that's why I didn't really give a good synopsis, but nevertheless I'm super excited for this one. So next I have Long Bright River by Liz Moore, and this is another psychological thriller. So it follows 2 sisters. So one sister is a drug addict and the other one is a police officer, and they had a falling out and haven't spoken to each other in years. But when the sister with a drug addiction goes missing, the other sister obviously kind of goes and tries to find out what happened to her sister. And what I really like about this, from what I've heard from the reviews, is that it does a good job at kind of bring into discussion the opioid addiction problem in the United States, and I think that'll be really interesting, especially because I hear about, my mom does all investigations for those things too, so it's hard to see because I've heard things about it, so I'm curious to see how this relates to kind of what I know, but I'm really interested. I always love, like I said, this one seems extra dark and just scary, so I'm really excited to see how I feel about this one. And finally, I have The Splendid in the Vial by Erik Larson, and I read a few of Erik Larson's book. I read The Devil in the White City in high school, and then I read In the Gardens a Beast when I was in university. So it's been a while since I've read an Erik Larson book, but I'm super excited about this. This one deals with Winston Churchill and his family, basically during the Blitz, which I think is really interesting, especially now with like The Crown. I kind of know more about Winston Churchill, so I'm very curious to see like about this book, especially from like the forefront of the Blitz. I think will be just an interesting setting. And what I really love about Erik Larson is that he does write nonfiction, but he writes it in a way that it's not like a history book. It's more of a novelization with these characters, but also includes a ton of references, journals, like diary entries, and like most of this book, like a good chunk of this book is basically like here to here is all references. So if you are a little worried with kind of reading this, like, don't be worried. I promise you, like, you get totally immersed in his writing. Don't be scary about the nonfiction. Like, it's done in a very novelization way of writing this. So I'm really excited for this, especially because I haven't read a nonfiction book in a really long time. So I'm excited about this, and it's like an old author that I've been a fan of for a long time now. So I'm super excited about this. So that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what some of the books you plan reading this summer are and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.